I'm Kristen Andre, founder and chief strategist of Andre Consulting Group. I founded my company almost 10 years ago because I love helping people not only succeed, but thrive in their careers and their lives. So many times I meet amazing people who have so much more potential than what they're utilizing. As I engage with them, there seems to be a common theme: the limits they place on themselves. Throughout this podcast series, we're going to visit some incredible people who have created more intentional lives for themselves, those who've had that no limits moment where they chose to grow and they put things in motion to help them do so. We'll focus on how you can break through limits, we'll equip you with strategies to help you lead a more intentional life, and we'll have a lot of fun along the way. So let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to No Limits with Kristen Andre. We are here today with George Fox, who is the president of NFW Watch Company. So I can't wait for you guys to hear this because George has got an amazing story, really, really cool history, and is doing some awesome stuff in the community and with his company. So welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on, Kristen. I'm excited to have a little chat with you.
Yeah, definitely. And we go way back. We've been friends for years, but I haven't seen you in forever. So it's good to reconnect on the show here and get to hear what you're up to, because I've been following you online and you're up to some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. We just started this little watch company about 14 years ago, and it has just grown into some really cool directions that honestly I didn't even anticipate at first, but I love the way it's going.
It's been super fun to watch. Now, before we get into, how about that? Super fun to watch. Look at that. Anyway, before we get into that, I want you to tell everybody I want to give them your story, because you aren't a traditional career path type of person. So I want to make sure everybody listening gets the fact that you're not stuck in whatever it is you set out to do, that you can find a new path. So give us your history and kind of how you got into the watch biz.
Sure. I've had just this bizarre meandering career path. And, in college, I was a musician and a windsurfer, and my band ended up getting signed by a record label. And then, of course, we're not famous, and that didn't work out. But I then became a pro windsurfer back in the 80s. And from there, I went to work for the windsurfing manufacturers. And that's kind of when the fun went out of it. I wasn't out on the water. I was stuck in an office.
Yeah.
And I had no way to express the creativity at the moment. So I moved home back to Connecticut and started up a business with my dad. Now, he had always been doing kind of his side hustle, which was not even a term back then.
Yep.
But he was always on the side building wrought iron railings. And so he had all this welding equipment and steel, metal saws and things like this. And so I took his business and said, you know what, Dad, we're really limited geographically as to how far we're willing to drive to go install these railings in concrete. And it's kind of not fun being out in Connecticut in February drilling holes in concrete either.
Nope. Yep.
So why don't we change the business into something that we can ship anywhere? And so I started designing very contemporary furniture, and we started building these really modern steel and glass tables. And the business took off, and at one point we had about 25 designer showrooms all over the country, and I made pieces for Elton John, Madonna.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, in Elton John's home in Atlanta, he has a few of my tables.
How cool is that? We should pop by and see them.
Yeah, let's pop over.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And, but eventually, it was a great creative outlet, but I kind of got a little tired of being in business with my dad. I always felt like a little kid, and so I wanted to go out and try something different. I ended up getting hired by Timex, and I knew nothing about watches, but they saw, I guess they saw the creativity in me, and kind of the way the ad read was, do you know about design? Do you know about marketing? Do you know about business? And, I was running a business and being creative. And so I guess I ticked all the boxes for them, and they hired me.
Okay.
So I stayed at Timex for 10 years doing everything from product design to marketing to brand building. I would spend a couple months a year in Asia working with the suppliers. I would go to Paris or Tokyo doing trend research shopping. So I really did a lot of things, and even some of the more mundane work like forecasting projections and things like that.
Right.
Handling the P&L and that sort of thing. So, but I really learned the full scope of the watch business, and at some point I said, let's do this a different way. I said I want to start off and start my own watch company, and instead of letting the guys down in finance drive the product, what will be the driver is the design and the engineering. So we'll make the watches as good as they can possibly be, and we won't do any market research because I've seen that lead companies astray. If the moderator asks the question with the wrong tone of voice, you get the wrong answer.
Interesting.
From the
Okay.
respondents. Yeah. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go on gut instinct. If I love it, we'll make it. If I don't love it, if I just like it, that's not good enough. I have to love it. And then I know there will be enough other people that'll love it too.
So that's kind of cool. I mean, you're going with really your gut and how you feel on things, which frequently we don't listen to enough.
Yeah, I think it's something, I've got a lot of pros and cons with technology. And I think as we become more and more dependent on our devices, we kind of lose touch with our gut feelings a little bit. And so I try to stay tapped into that as much as possible.
Very cool. Okay. Nice. So you launched, so we've moved from windsurfing to working with Dad and creating some really, so you've always had that kind of creative out. I mean, musician, windsurfer, furniture designer, those are all definitely creative and just adventurous type of outlets. They're not the norm, really. And I would assume launching a watch company of your own, especially after being at a big company, is not the norm either.
That's true. I really love the small business aspect of it, and I like keeping our business small.
Okay.
Initially we were selling to high-end men's clothing stores and through jewelers, but I was not in touch with the end user, the guy who actually lays down his money to buy our watch. And so the business kind of evolved into this direct to consumer model. And I love it so much more because now I'm in touch with the guys who actually buy the watches and the women who buy our watches. Yeah. And it's very rewarding for me and I've made many good friends who are really just customers who became friends. And I love having that connection.
So tell us a little bit, because I follow your company online and on Facebook. It's a community. I mean, you really are in touch with the customers because they are you have a little watch following. I mean, these people are fiercely loyal, sharing pictures. I mean, who thinks about buying a watch and like, oh, let me share a picture of me doing a Spartan run with my watch. So how did it evolve? I get the in touch with the consumer, which is awesome because enough companies don't do that. But how did you get to that point?
I think it was really by making personal connections with people. That's really what got it started. And it just grew from there. And, the fact that they can call NFW and sometimes I'll be the one who picks up the phone, or they send an email and I'll be the one who responds to their email. And it's funny, like sometimes people will call and they'll, is it really you?
Yeah.
And their voice will sound a little nervous. I was like, yeah, it's me. Yeah. It's just me.
Still me.
And,
yeah.
But it's a great thing. And, it's funny. We've gotten a lot of people that have tattoos of our logo now. And that really freaked me out at first. The first time I saw it, I thought was, oh my God, we better stay in business for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all right. So if you guys haven't checked it out, it's NFW Watch, which we're not going to say the full name, but it stands for Nice
Freaking Watches
in Watch, which I love the name. I think it's fantastic because you just see NFW on the logo, but it's almost like a Nautilus type. It's a super cool logo. So
yeah. Well, my mom is very Irish Catholic, so the alternate name for mom is Nautical Fox Watches. So NFW.
Nautical Fox Watches. Yes. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Mom Fox, if you were listening, Nautical Fox Watches are doing really well. But so you're engaging with your clients and the people that are buying your watches. So what do you take their feedback, or is it more just building relationships?
It's more building relationships. We certainly take a little bit of feedback. They'll say, "Oh, hey, next time you make this collection, can you add one with, an orange face on the watch?" And I'll say, "Yeah, we might be able to do that." But really, it's connections. And the other thing, and I don't understand why more businesses don't get this very simple, common sense way of dealing with people is, but say if someone has a problem with their watch, they break something on it, and they call up, and they're all like pumped up, ready for an argument, and we'll just say, "Don't worry about it, man. Send it in. We'll fix it." And the guy's like, "Oh, I don't have my receipt anymore." Well, I don't care. I don't care about your receipt. Just send it in. We'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. And something as simple as that, just treating people decently goes a long way, and they turn into lifelong customers. They keep coming back.
And decency isn't a lost art with a lot of businesses, especially large corporations for sure. But I feel like small to medium businesses, they should have this down. It's not as common as it should be.
You're right. I mean, it's just treating people well. Treat them decently, and they'll come back.
Yeah.
And that personal touch goes a long way. Again, because we are very disconnected through our devices and technology. So having that personal connection means a lot.
Yeah. So what have you done with your group? Because you've got, we'll expand a little bit. You are active in a lot of groups. Like you're active yourself doing like Spartan races and Tough Mudders and things like that. That seems where a lot of your followers and fans, a lot of them are coming from that core group, just kind of the active out there pushing past limit type of group.
Yeah, I think for me, that's just, that's what I like to do. And, that I'm just being genuine with people, really. I enjoy doing that. Yeah. And it also happens to make a great testing ground for our watches. When you beat the watch up in a Spartan race and it's getting banged and covered in mud and beat up, and at the end of the race, it's still running. Well, that's a great testament to the quality of the watch. So it kind of serves multiple purposes that way. And it keeps me in shape.
It keeps you in shape. Well, and it's fun too, because like a lot of the pictures, you'll see these people, and a lot of the pictures on your Facebook page and website, everything are there. There's a lot of mud. And I think I'd share with you, I did my first race type of adventure race like this year. And this is not a thing for me. And I literally could not get off the couch for 3 days. So, these are tough.
Great.
It was, my friend's like, "You're going to love it. You're going to do it again." I'm like, "I can't move for 3 days. I can't move." So we'll reassess somewhere down the road. But it really, what I was impressed with at the race that I did was, it's a family. It's definitely like a community, as opposed to just people. Like if you go run a 5K or 10K, you show up, people run, they go home. But the Tough Mudders and the Spartans of the world and the Savage Race, which is the one I did, it's truly a community of folks there.
It is. And I think it taps into some part of us that loves to feel some sort of pain through adversity, through challenge, and to get dirty and to get down in the mud and climb over walls. I think there's some sort of primal piece of us that we've stepped away from a little bit, and this kind of reawakens that.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it, and we'll get you to do another one.
Yeah, we have to start training a little bit, because I think the mistake I made is it was 2 days before, and my friend says, "Hey, I've got an extra ticket." I was like, "No problem." And it, my lack of athletic self was I went in a little too green, I think. But never say never, But the community is what, honestly, I don't know if it was the challenge of the race itself. I think it was the community that would draw me back. So I appreciate the fact that you're involved with that, but also you've really leveraged it in your business in a way that a lot of companies don't.
Well, we've made all the watches for Spartan Race, so we've done those watches, and through that, I got to be friends with the founder of Spartan, this guy Joe DeSena, who's one of the most driven people I've ever met.
Awesome.
And then through Joe, then I've met other people. So one thing leads to the next and to the next, and you can make all the business plans you want, but sometimes you just got to go and take a leap.
Yeah. And I love it because it's that underdog mentality, which I know you like. It's like, I started small and organically I'm just growing. I mean, you're marketing yourself, but you're growing very organically.
Yeah, I think again that goes back to being genuine. Um, we're not trying to, be something other than what we are.
Exactly.
It,
Yeah.
I think people perceive that. They can tell if someone's not genuine, and I think that is one of the most important things I've learned is really to take chances, to just keep going, just go, 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 and things will work out.
Completely agree. Completely agree. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more with George Fox about how this underdog, this never give up mentality is really playing out in the business, but also how he's giving back at the same time, because I think they go hand in hand. So we'll be back in just a few. Hey everyone, it's Kristen. Be sure and visit my website at www.andregroup.com. That's www.andree group.com. And while you're there, be sure to download my white paper, Top 10 Reasons Your Business Isn't Growing Fast Enough. Now get out there and create your no limits moment. Welcome back, everyone, to No Limits with Kristen Andre. We are here with George Fox, who is the president of NFW Watch Company. And prior to the break, we were talking about really how you've grown the company and the business to be a community and a lot of followers and a lot of people that just truly engage with you. And I think that's a testament to how you're giving back and how you're engaging with them. But what I want to dive into is you do a lot charitably as well, and you've really made that kind of a core focus of your business. So tell us what you and NFW are doing.
Sure. That was not my initial business plan when I started the company. I think it was back in 2010, and I just happened to be driving around one afternoon, and an ad or a show or whatever for St. Jude's Children's Hospital came on, and it was some parents talking about all that their kids have been through, and man, it was brutal. And so I find myself just driving around crying, listening to this, thinking like, oh my God, we got to do something. We got to raise some money. And so I was on a very large watch forum at the time, and it was an online watch forum for guys that are just totally into watches. And they had about 90,000 members. And so I just put it out there. I said, we're developing a new collection. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a piece of the sale of each one of these watches go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Okay. And the response was tremendous. And I just thought, wow, that we really tapped into something where I think people really want to join together and be part of something larger than themselves.
Right.
And so that worked extremely well. And we just sent them, I forget how much we sent on that first one. I think it was like $7,500.
Okay.
But it was kind of what opened the door to this. And I thought, man, this is really good. Then the next thing happened was a bunch of the Army Special Forces guys called me, the Green Berets. Mm-hmm. And they said, hey, we've been buying your watches and we love them. And we saw that you've got one that has a logo similar to one of our logos. And I thought they were going to be like, hey, what are you doing stealing our logo?
You're like, okay, sir, I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
And I said, no, it's just coincidence. They said, yeah, but what we were thinking was maybe you could do some watches just for us and actually put our logo on it.
I mean, how cool is that? Like, I got a call from the Green Berets today to ask if I could help them.
Right.
That's so cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Oh man. So you did their watches.
Yeah. So I flew down to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and they actually made me run their obstacle course, which is called the Nasty Nick at Fort Bragg. They would actually meet with me. And luckily
before they would meet with, all right, props to that. I appreciate that. I might not have made the meeting myself, but okay.
So then they took me to this underground bunker, which was really like a high-tech conference room underground. And they said, no civilian has ever been in this room before. And
Very
I'm like,
cool.
so if we don't make some watches, you guys gonna kill me or what?
Yeah, exactly.
And so we hammered out like a good deal. And I said, you know what, guys, I think my regular customers would love to buy some of these watches. What if instead of just making them for you guys, what if we make them available to anyone, and we'll have a portion of the sales go back to your charity foundation? And they said, we love that idea. They said, actually, and these are Army Green Berets, you know.
Yeah.
So they said, we're so tired of all those Navy SEALs getting all the attention from the public. We would love for people to buy these.
Oh man.
So again, that worked extremely well.
Yeah.
Sold out. I think they sold out before the watches were even ready. We did a pre-sale and they were gone.
Oh wow. Awesome.
It was tremendously successful. And again, I saw this thing where people love to get behind a good cause and love to be part of something bigger. And so that really led me into this world of helping veteran support groups, because the design of our watches tend to naturally appeal to these type of guys.
Yep.
You know, the rugged watches.
They're definitely
you know,
rugged, like more, yes, they're very cool, but that
Yeah.
rugged guy type of guy.
Yeah, so it seemed like a perfect fit. And from there, you know, we've worked with the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation, the Green Beret Foundation, Lone Survivor Foundation, my favorite, which is a smaller one called Operation Enduring Warrior. And what they do is they get the guys and women who are amputees.
Oh,
They
cool.
also, you know, any sort of injury,
Yeah.
they help. But the most visible things you see are the guys missing arms and legs. And they get them out running Spartan races and other activities. But, you know, to see a guy with no legs carrying an 80-pound concrete ball on his shoulder, just walking on his stumps through the mud,
Oh, wow.
it's amazing. It's really amazing to see it. Or a guy climbing a rope who's got no legs and one of his arms is gone. He's got one arm and he's climbing a rope.
That's
It's
insane. I mean, that's the stuff that makes you just stop and go, what the heck am I complaining about, worried about, challenged about? Because it's, man, I mean, those guys and women have given up a lot.
you know, it's funny. I kind of say the same thing. You know, I look at them doing these races and I'm right there with them. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, oh, my hip hurts.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
you know, I
You
obviously I can't even say
complain.
anything because,
Exactly.
oh my God. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Are a lot of your designs now are giving back to these different organizations, military related organizations.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, our latest collection, which is called the Valor, that raises money for a group called Honor Flight. And Honor Flight, what they do is they charter planes and they fill the planes with veterans from World War II. And these guys are in their 80s and 90s, just really
Wow.
old guys. And they fly them to Washington, D.C., and they have like a police motorcycle escorting buses full of these guys from through all the monuments in D.C. And to get these guys together, and I always volunteer. I always help all these organizations. I'd like to get personally involved. So I was on one of the honor flights that flew out of Boston last year. And the guy that I was assigned to, his name was Ken. He's 92 years old, and he drove a tank in World War II from France through Germany. He was part of the group that liberated the Dachau concentration camp.
Wow.
And, you know, to be with these guys, it's just such a tremendous experience. And then to give back to them, it's even better.
It's, and you're covering both sides, because a lot of times I feel like it's easier to write a check, say I'll donate money, I'll donate this, but really getting involved and hearing the stories and seeing how the work you're doing and the funds you're raising through the sale of your watches are giving back, and the impact they're having has got to be, I mean, that's just awesome.
I always say, it's great we're raising money for them, but what they give me back in terms of
Oh yeah.
life perspective is so much more than the money that I'm giving them.
Yeah. It's
But
just,
it's
it's
funny.
always like that. It's just always, anytime you can actually participate, not just financially, but see how it plays out and how it helps somebody. It's just, it's it warms your heart. I mean, you'll be full. I'm an ugly crier, so you'll be full of tears. But it is. It's something that unparalleled.
Yeah. So on a personal level, for me, it's very rewarding. I was at an event with the Chris Kyle Foundation down in Texas, and Chris Kyle's wife, Taya Kyle, was there.
Okay.
And so I spent a couple hours with her the day before this event, and she said, "It's so great that you're raising money with these watches, and helping us out that way." She said, "But the best thing about these watches is that every time someone sees one of the watches or wears one or comments on one, it helps keep Chris's spirit alive."
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, that really hit me as to I hadn't even thought of it that way.
Yeah. That's when the ugly tears start to flow, but it's
yeah,
true.
We were kind of both crying at that point.
I know. It is. It's good work though, but and what I love and appreciate about it, it's just, it came so organically. It was just something that was born out of not only how well your business was doing, but the desire to truly give back. And you were able to really successfully merge the two, which is super cool.
Yeah. And, for any type of small business, especially with a product business, where you're going up against large competitors with deep pockets,
Yep.
You have to try to find ways to market yourself. And so it turned out to be a total win-win situation by doing this. It was great that we were raising money for organizations and awareness for them, but it also helped my business.
Yeah.
By kind of riding the coattails of these large organizations, it put NFW on the radar for tens or hundreds of thousands of people who would never have heard of the brand otherwise.
I think that's so awesome. So awesome. We're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we're going to figure out how we can take all this stuff that George has done in his business and use it in our own lives. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Hey everyone, check out my podcast, No Limits with Kristen Andre, on Tuesday nights at 7:30. We will tackle the things holding you back and the limits you set on yourself and equip you with some strategies to lead more intentional lives. Podcast launches every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on facebook.com/Andre Group. That's facebook.com/ANDREE Group. We'll see you there. Welcome back, everyone, to No Limits with Kristen Andre. We are wrapping up our time with George Fox of NFW Watch Company. And this has been just awesome because I'm so impressed with, the underdog story and the small company that's growing based on truly and genuinely giving back. So, we want to, every episode we issue a challenge to our listeners. So as we kind of put together everything you're doing, my head automatically goes to give back, but I think there's more to it. So let's take on this, the watches, the time, and talk to us a little bit about your feeling around time.
Sure. Being a watch designer, I think I'm very keyed in with the notion of time. And what I've seen is that there's been this pervasiveness throughout our society where, as we're becoming more and more attached to our devices. First, it was the adults, and now all the kids have devices.
Yep.
Whether it's their Nintendo Switch or their iPhone or, their Xbox, whatever, we're all getting attached to these devices, and we're becoming further disconnected from each other. And unfortunately, also more disconnected from nature, from the outdoors. And, if you extrapolate this out, in a more grand scheme way, when our kids grow up to be the policymakers, if they never experienced any joy being out in nature, getting dirty and muddy or climbing trees or, climbing over rocks, then they won't have that emotional connection to nature. And, we could start to see more and more funding of our national parks get cut. We could see more of a sense of apathy growing around climate change. So I think it's important for us as the parents right now to have ourselves and our kids kind of be together, spend some time together, put down our devices, go outside, go for a walk, go for a hike, spend time together and truly connect with each other. No phones at all. Just put them down.
I think that's a great challenge, and it is. It's a matter of using our time efficiently. We talk about time management and using it well, but this is really just being present and making the most of actual time, which I think
It is because we all, and this is almost cliche, but being present is so important because we don't know how much time we each have left. I could be in a car accident this afternoon and I don't know it. And a lot of times, no matter how much money you've got, you can't buy more time. So time is certainly more precious than money. Money, you can always earn more.
Yep.
Time, you can't make more. So you've got to use what you've got well and spend it with the people that you love.
I think that is absolutely fantastic. So that's our challenge. It's really finding time, taking time, making it matter, making it count, getting outdoors in nature, and doing it with the people that you love the most. Fantastic challenge. So for those of you guys that listen a lot, or for anybody new to the show, we have a page on Facebook. It's at #NoLimitsMoment. And we're going to share the challenge there and let us know what you do. We'd love to see pictures of you out in nature, whatever it is you decide to do with this time to engage more. Jump on our page, tell us what you're doing, shoot us some pictures, and let us know how this is affecting you. Because George, I think it's so needed. Definitely needed.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We're going to also post a link to your website because I want people to check out these watches and maybe be able to help part of this giving back as well. So very honored to hear your story and love the work that you're doing. So wish you all the best continued success. And for everybody listening, thanks again to George for being on here, and stay out there and keep pushing past those limits. We'll see you next week.